Hi everyone, this is DevSwarm, a desktop application specifically built around high velocity engineering, or HiVE coding. HiVE coding is a skill centered around parallel implementation. This means working on several parts of a feature at once, fixing several bugs at the same time, and essentially building as fast as you can think. In this video series, we're going to illustrate what high velocity engineering looks like in practice. To do this, we're going to re-implement a web app named Conduit. It's based on the RealWorld app specification, which is a Medium clone, essentially a blogging platform. And so you can post articles, you can filter by tags, you can favorite articles, you can log in and log out. It's a decently complex application. It's much more complicated than a to-do app. So using this specification that they provide, which has the templates, the styling already figured out, the routing structure for your pages, the endpoint shape here, the response format that they're expecting, this is enough detail that we can infer the data model, the underlying data model, and with enough detailed prompting, work through and rebuild from scratch into a full-blown application. The goal of the video series is to re-implement this application and deploy it to the cloud on AWS. I already have a builder going and it just wrapped up. And so this builder has been going for about 5 or 6 minutes and it was scaffolding out the base application. The tech stack that we're going to use is a React app for the web, Express app for the API, and we're going to deploy this on AWS using the AWS CDK library. It's going to be a TypeScript monorepo using Bun as its bundler, builder, and package manager. And so we just got everything scaffolded out. I expect there's going to still be a little bit of funny business here, so we're going to get that figured out. Notice I've only got one builder up in the corner over here. We call a builder is a combination of a branch and an AI. And so every one of these branches will be a separate workspace that you can work independently in without risk of damaging your other builders or having to worry about AIs fighting. And that's what makes DevSwarm very powerful. You can start multiple branches working on different parts of the application and different features all in parallel and move smoothly between them so that you don't have to wait on the AI to think. All right, let's get this rolling here. So yes, do a bun install. So hopefully this will be the last little bits of having to wait on an AI before we do something else. All right, so we can see the structure we have here. At the top level, package.json, tsconfig base, git ignore, ESLint config, prettier. And then we have 3 apps. So apps web, apps API, apps infra. So this React SPA, Express server here, AWS CDK here. We have several shared libraries. So shared will be everything that is used across all the things. Web will be just web components, and the reason that's shared is that one of our branches will introduce component libraries, and maybe there's another web app you'll ever want to make. You want to make someday, right? I'm building this as though it's a production grade application, and so the practices that I'm going to use are going to be what I'd expect in a production grade code base. And one of those key parts is code sharing. I really believe that's the only real form of future-proofing that you can rely on, is having as much of your code shareable as possible in your code bases. And generally speaking, that's why I prefer monorepos if I can make them work. Lib server, we're going to use a service layer pattern here, so controller, services, repositories. The infra, there can be shared infra, so usually I have shared libraries like this so that I can deploy to different environments with identical infrastructure with tweaks and configuration. And then transport, which is between the web and the API. So I'll have these odd schemas and type generation so that they are speaking the same language. So let's see here. Can you run that app for me? I like to have the AI do almost as much as possible. Now, when you are only working with one Claude, this can be really infuriating because you have to wait so long for the most basic of commands to run. But when you start working in parallel, suddenly the cost of doing this drops way down and the benefits skyrocket. All right, great. So looks like I'm going to just trust that since the web app ran and had the shared libraries, we're probably good to go here, right? So the fundamental code base is in. So we're going to go ahead and let Claude commit for us. And then from there, we're going to scale out. I've got a bunch of other prompts ready for us to get rolling with. Okay, yep, look at that. That's a great commit. Okay, great. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use some of our hotkeys to merge. So Control-Shift-M merges into the source branch, which for this guy was main. I'm going to terminate this builder now. And now we're going to get started on setup front end here. We're going to do setup back end. And so by setup, I mean now we're going to start really scaffolding out some stuff here. Setup infra. Because all these do right now is just console log. All right, so we already have the React application. We have all that stuff set up. So actually the first thing I'm going to do on the front end is I'm going to build out a component library. So we're going to, okay, go back here. Okay, so yep, proceed. And I have a prompt here for this. So it's going to go to the specification, the templates, and the styles and create composable components in apps that will reuse in apps web once they're implemented. So this will be in libs, and this will be actually a bit of a linear path. I find with AI, I have a lot more success building the component library first and then scaffolding out the page routing, because what will tend to happen is that if you try to do those in parallel, it'll try to make the components during the routing as well. And it's better just to get a solid foundation of the component library first. But let's move on to the back end now. So the back end here, what do we got here that we're going to do? Back end setup. Here we go. So what I want to do here is that we're going to prove we can get dependency injection working. And a big part of that is just making sure we have a controller, a service, and a repository, and a single user entity in here. It's all going to be stubbed out, but I want to make sure it uses dependency injection. So here we go there. And so what I just did right there was I just switched from back end to front end to check in on front end and see where we're at. And so you're going to see me swapping around these pretty quick. And this is what we mean by parallel implementation here, is that generally speaking, if you want to get a lot of work done and you only have one process running, you tend to turn it to auto fire and then hope that the fidelity of your prompt is enough that you won't have to like undo a bunch of work. But now I don't have to do that. I can switch between them, evaluate every little change that they do, and ensure that the direction it's going is what I want without losing any time. So cool, it's going to make a user entity, we're going to make some repositories, and we're going to call it from there. Okay, looks good to me. I'm going to just get set from there, make that. Okay, hello construct. It's going to have a single bucket, just like I wanted. That's great. Okay, now the other part. So Dockerization, I'm just going to double check and see. We can start on the transport library too. So let's get started on the transport library. So you can already see things are different now. We are now moving on 4 different distinct key chunks of work here that are very important to do. And I don't feel like this is context switching, because I already know what I want to build in my head, right? I already know what it is that I want to do. And so I get to stay focused on every part of it. I don't have to worry. I don't have to like get one thing done and then, you know, while knowing there's the API to get working and all that other great stuff, I get to touch on all the features, all the elements of a given application that I can keep in my head, and I can keep quite a lot in my head. It feels really good, honestly. Okay, so that's a button. Yeah, right. So we have the CSS defined for us, which does mean that dang, this is so cool. All right, which means that we don't have to like worry about Tailwind and stuff as much. All right. Okay. Okay. Great. Yep. This is still going here. All right. So we're making the Zod schemas and the transport. I'm going to go back to it. And so this is why planning ahead of time is really good. Because you can... All right, I was going to make a whole database thing. Okay. Integrate SQLite. and drizzle. Okay, I think we can do this now. No, let's wait for the backend to get set up. I think that needs, oh, there we go. All right. Can you write tests for the, well, let's do bun build and bun run here. Is there an endpoint to prove it works? Run it. Okay. All right. And this transport. Oh, okay. I was like, man, where are they all at? But okay, I see it's going to make several of them. I love it. That's great. And I mean, I know it looks like I'm going pretty quick here, but it's all going the direction I'm expecting. And so spot checking here is still very important. I've been plenty of times when I've caught stuff that, thank gosh, I had a chance to look at it and say, no, you're going the completely wrong direction there. Oh, we're deploying it. All right, hold up. I need to make sure I'm logged in. Okay. Oh, yes. That, right, that's in the lib. Yes, please properly integrate the controller with the apps API application now. Okay. Yep, I'm going to deploy that. We're going to keep on making components here. This is looking solid here. Yep, the backend's the one that'll probably have the most fiddling with because just dependency injection tends to be a bit of a pain here. We're going to make ladle stories first for our components. So ladle's like Storybook. I just tend to have a little bit more luck with ladle for some reason. It's probably just me. It has probably nothing to do with Storybook. All right. Yep, looks good. Okay. Yep, let's give that a shot. So I like to have, when you're iterating on infrastructure, right? I mean, ideally the only thing that updates production infrastructure would be CI. That should be a repeatable, well-defined process. When you're iterating on infrastructure code, such as with AWS CDK, and you're building several different things, I really enjoy using AI now. Like for this, it is so much better because when something goes wrong, the AI generally is able to pick up on it really quickly, and then they know the AWS SDK commands to dig right in and figure out what went right and what went wrong. And that is so valuable without having to dig through the logs myself, right? It'll get right to it, and it knows I am better than I do. Okay, cool. So we have a server endpoint. That's great. Okay. Controller, hello world controller, get instance. I don't know if that's how I want to do this. Let's go ahead and have a look at what files have changed here. So the controller here. So if I look at this, okay, so it's not using dependency injection yet. Okay, so please use tsyringe to set up proper dependency injection. Ideally, the hello world controller injects the hello world service, which itself injects the hello world repository. Make an application class as well that injects the containers itself, so we can minimize amount of runtime resolution. All right, so that's good to get there. Front-end's doing that. Great. Deployment was successful. If I go look at my my AWS account real quick, let's double check that that worked out like I hoped it did. I'm going to go look over here. Yep, there's my hello stack. Great. So this worked out. Go ahead and commit. Okay. Set up transport. All right, so this guy, okay, please set up some tests using the bun test runner, which exercise our validation, improve things, work as expected. Here we go. I'm going to go and commit that, and this is going to start, getting rid of the get instance stuff. All right. And that's going to commit. Great. We're going to create some tests. That's lovely. All right. And these components are still being built, which is just fine. Yeah, that's what I want to see. Great. In the service. Yep, in the service. All right. So this has been we committed. So Control-Shift-M, that merged in, kill it. So now our base repo has got the infrastructure code ready to start really spanning out into. Now, what I'm hoping to do, though, is set up containerization and set up a web app deployment. But we don't have... So I am going to set up a React app, a basic React app. So, basic React, okay. Because we need that in order to start testing the deployments. All right. Okay. These create, okay. Leave in apps web, we have a these create a very simple hello world React app that pulls from the shared libs web and writes a line. Just set this up so we can get started on the infra deployment. So really basic there. Okay. The application, no, the application itself, part of the DI setup, it injects the controllers. Okay, and that's going there. Great. No, this is nice. This is great stuff. So yeah, we're at 4 builders now, right? So one of them's doing something really basic, so that should go really quick. But the thing I'm going to do right after that is we're going to get started on the look at all this stuff. My goodness. Now let's double check here. So link. All right. Here's the nav item really should be a component there. All right. Okay. Yep. Build that all out. So you can see the pace is very different, and I'm not waiting on anything. One of the challenges that I had the most when I really first started using Claude Code was, that's what I want to see. Yep, that's what I want to see. Great. Was just the seconds of waiting between each different prompt, and my attention span. It's really rough. I can't handle that. It's really bad for me. So it was really good to get this all rolling here. So I'm going to go ahead and run the app here in this builder. Some basic React here, and we're using Bun, so it's super fast. Dev web. Okay, what is? Okay. How do I run it? Okay. Bun, run, dev web. Okay. How come I can't run dev web? Okay, and so this is another thing that's really nice about working with AI, is that you can go ahead and have it help you debug the stuff directly. All right, let's go. Now we're in the pages. Awesome. So what's the issue here? Oh, it's Vite. Right, okay, it's a Vite app. All right, got it. Okay. Run the tests, and we did that. Okay. How do I run the API? All right. Making all these page components. Using our buttons, using our components. That's so nice. Okay. Do we not have a script in the root package.json for this? Okay. Okay, let's do that then. That's what I meant. Bun. So bun I, so it's going to install the dependencies, which is fast. And now bun over here. Bun run dev API. Okay. Okay, great. And this is what we want to do. Like, this is the whole point, is getting these little issues figured out so that we can run our app properly. Okay, we have transport. The tests are good. So I'll say, let me just look at the files that we're going to commit here shortly. So we have article, slug. Yep. I've looked at the, I've used this demo application spec a lot for various projects. And so I'm pretty familiar with what to expect, and that looks pretty nice. So go ahead and commit. Okay. All right. So if I do run dev web. Okay. Okay, great. So let's go ahead. So now the next thing I'm going to actually do in this, I'm going to have it commit. Go ahead. These changes. So how come the root doesn't work? Can't run it from the ripped in the root. Okay. Okay, so transport's all set. We've got a bunch of tests, so let's go ahead and review the code here. So what do we got in here? So we use our review tool up here. Come on in. We can start seeing everything. This is the quad MD. All right, got it. Okay. We need to tell it to not list the literal tests. All right, that's not going to work. Now let's go in here, article. We got tests to validate things work as we expect them to work. Okay, so I'm going to tell it to chill out in the Claude MD. Okay, great. Okay, yeah, that's more like what I was expecting. So we'll fix that in one of these and then merge it in. That's better. Okay, now it's not dumb. Okay, so we're getting the front end components committed, and this should be, yeah, good. It's deleting a ton of stuff up there. That's great. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. So this is the back end. If I do run dev API, cool. If I hit okay, try hitting / localhost 3000 / API / hello. All right. Okay, let's go look at this. All right, great. Simple React app. Hello world from libs web. Okay, how do we know it's actually pulling from libs web? Index.ts. Hello world. All right. All right, great. From lib web components. Great. Excellent. All right. Okay. Go ahead and commit. All right. So that's getting the basic React app in. Simplified that. I'm going to have you test out to make sure that the back end works here. Okay, committed successfully. So we got a bunch of components, so that's great. And then what I want it to work on next is the stories. So let me triple check here. We're going to integrate something called Ladle, which is a lot like Storybook. But, well, I'm gonna go ahead and commit. Okay, I'm going to just merge this. All right, cool. Let's get rid of setup front end. And then I'm going to go ahead and have add Ladle. Okay, add a builder, Ladle, add builder. There we go. Okay. So if we can get to the point in this episode, it's been about 28 minutes now, where we have the front end, we have the back end, and we have the infra code running, then and we have a component library. So we got the front end, but I think we could get the Ladle components implemented. And then in that episode, that means that we are pretty well set and ready to go okay, so let's go ahead and, okay, so this guy looks better now. Claude MD looks less ridiculous. Yeah, that's better. That's fine. Okay. Okay, so that's committed. Let's merge that in. Okay. These merge. Okay, actually, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Get merge main. Yep. Please. Conflicts in conflicts. Merging in main. Okay. Okay, so we got a front end app here. Let me triple check that. Yep, apps web source index does some things. Great, excellent. Okay, let's merge that in. Let's kill that. So we got a basic React app in. We're working on Ladle right now in here. And okay, and we're resolving our problems there. Let's get this running here. So starting to wind down some builders here, but they're going to explode into another set of builders. And another thing to keep in mind, all this stuff that I'm doing right now, the current idiom is that you're doing one of these at a time. And so like this transport layer I'm working on right now, right? Like like that I built here was odd and stuff. Like a super valid thing to like spend a bunch of time on getting just right. And, you know, but that time I was spending doing that, I could have been spending doing other things here, right? And I was able to, whereas before it would have been one thing at a time. All right, resolved, and okay, we've committed, and that is lovely. So, yes, let me close this guy out here. All right, so now we have our infra stuff in, new infrastructure. Great. Okay, cool. Let's merge this in. Great. Okay, let's kill that. So so ladle's still going, backend is still kind of going. All right. Okay. And let's see here. Ooh, I'm excited about this. Here comes all our stories. So many stories. All right, so what do we got here? So we got the back end going here. All right, so the back end's all set up. So, and I wanted to review real quick though. Yep, I can close this guy. So I want to see what the dependency injection really looks like. So we have an express container.resolve, which is what I want. And so get is this, hello world.get user. Okay, good enough. Got some of that stuff. Entity user is, okay. Package JSON. We're doing injection. Great. This all looks wonderful. I love it. All right. So, okay. Get merge main. All right. Please resolve the conflicts and commit. All right. And you are going. Oh, the tags. That'll be fun. All right. Oh, this is cool. That's nice. So, just get this back end in, because the next thing we're going to do, well, actually, I could get, I'm going to try to make it so I actually end these episodes within a reasonable time here. All right, so we got the merge conflict resolved. That's great. Okay, let's go ahead and merge you in. Great. Back end. So now we've got the back end, and let's end it looking at the component library and feeling good about that. Because once I got that in, then the next thing that I can move on to is the infrastructure code, and then the actual start working on the logic, right? Like, well, no, we have to hook up the database. We're going to use SQLite and Drizzle. Like, we're going to deploy the infrastructure. This is the one area that I feel just kind of, a little silly about not having be full production grade, which is normally I'd have RDS, a secret injection, and stuff like that. Maybe we'll do it, but we'll just get started with SQLite embedded in the API app itself directly, and then if we want to go full ham, we can totally do that. All right, let me go check and see. Don't kill it. No, it's not. Okay, so we got some work to do here. So it's not sourcing the CSS. So I'm going to go let it know it's got some CSS it needs to source. Okay, all right. And now let's see. Actually, one thing we'll get working, and that's something I didn't do, is the Playwright MCP server. Playwright MCP. So let's just go ahead, mcp.json, and we'll just go ahead and restart our AI here. We're going to be adding in better MCP support very soon. But for now, great. Okay, cool. So now if it goes to localhost, okay, cool. So if I do /resume, what? There we go. All right. Woo, that scared me. Okay. Please run the ladle server. And then use playwright to navigate the component library. You'll notice that the components are missing their CSS. Styles can be found here. Okay, now we're on. So again, for the sake of the episode, I kind of want to save the infra stuff and everything for the next episode, but I kind of want to end this one with like, so this will be fun. This is going to have the Playwright MCP server start navigating the web page a little bit, I think. But let me check if, okay, so yeah, it just needs to add the CSS stuff here. Front end styles. Now I don't want you to like, I want you to, all right, great. Custom head configuration for ladle. Let's make sure it's not making that up. Okay. All right. Kind of remember this being kind of a confusing thing for ladle for some reason. What's going on here? Yeah, I was totally running it earlier. Hey, that's better. There we go. Nice. What do we got in here? Old dates. So it's got dates with a favorite button. So the tags are a little funny. This is the kind of stuff that now I can use it to go fix. I think we'll do that in a separate, we'll do that next episode, is that I'll have, we got broken image, but we need to grab the demo user. But yeah, we can have it go through each of these and make sure they're all solid, right? Otherwise, yeah, this is great. Nice. Look at that. Lovely. All right. Because, yep. Okay, where's the footer? It's down here. Okay. See, did it? Nice. Okay, great. All right, I'll stop fiddle-faddling with it. But that's okay. Great. So next episode, we're going to fix the components. They're pretty close. We're going to start setting up infra and deploying stuff to AWS. We're going to hook up the database, and we're going to start implementing the actual. I think we're at the point where we get to start actually implementing pages to page routing and stuff like that. That'll be great. So, yep. Thank you guys. I will look forward to talking to you soon.